So I wanted to come on here and discuss the controversy, not as a drama channel or an influencer, because I'm neither of those things, but as a fan of Shane Dawson. And I can admit that I have been interested in Jeffree Star's lifestyle in the past, and that's because of Shane Dawson that I was ever at all interested in Jeffree Star. So I'm actually disappointed for the first time, I believe, since I've watched Shane Dawson in him. I believe that although he says that this palette and this collection wasn't a cash grab, that it's pretty obvious that you're pretty happy with how it's turned out, that you are okay with just making money off of it and then moving on, like it's kind of a quick phase. Shane talks about, he is leaving the beauty community, but in reality, he was never a part of the beauty community. And he never posted a video about him doing makeup, which I never had a really big issue with. I think from the get-go, I knew and didn't expect him to come out with all of these makeup tutorials and really be all that interested in it. It just seemed a little too far-fetched for me. I figured that, Jeffree would be on his channel, the Shane Dawson channel, and they might do collaborations together, and Shane might bring other bigger influencers on his channel. And I was hoping that maybe even micro influencers on his channel and do makeup, and I was naive in hoping that he would be pushing micro influencers just because he does seem like he calls himself like the grandfather of, YouTube, whatever. So I didn't expect too much from that channel, but that was just kind of how I saw it going if he was going to pursue makeup in the beauty community. But the statement that he put out was so ridiculous, because here he is defending Jeffree Star, but he's talking about James and Tati like they were kind of the problem, and that, although Tati's video really set it all off, what Tati said in her video, although it did have an impact on me, it was all of the evidence that Jeffree Star had, allegedly, that made me really change my perspective on James Charles. And I'm going to put it out now that I apologize sincerely to James Charles and I don't even know if I talked badly. I'm sure I did at the time, talked badly on him in either YouTube comments or on Twitter or on Tumblr. I don't know if that even reached that platform. But on any platform, if I added to the instability of his mental state, I do apologize for that. I'm not going to put it all on Jeffree Star, because a part of that was, if I'm being honest, was me wanting to see the takedown of James Charles, because I believed he was a sexual predator. And I believed that because of Jeffree Star. In Tati's video, the things that she spoke out about, I felt I was repulsed by, but I felt like I wasn't surprised by anything that she said. And I thought that James Charles definitely needed some growing up to do after that video, but I thought that Tati would kind of be the push that he needed to kind of, deflate his ego a little bit. But I didn't see her video as malicious. I just thought that it was like a wake-up call, and that's kind of how I feel like it was intended to be. And that didn't really make me change my perspective on James Charles. There was other videos that I watched prior to hers that had already left a bad taste in my mouth about him, and I don't mind him now, but after her video came out, I was like, oh yeah, he definitely needs some growing up to do. He's way off the rails. That at that point, I wasn't sure if I wanted to see him be deplatformed. I wouldn't say that. It was how he had made allegedly made Nate uncomfortable, and him being a predator. And then I even felt like I needed to go against James Charles' brother, because I felt like, well, obviously Jeffree Star has some evidence against, them. And so, in me thinking that he was very powerful at the time, probably did have all these receipts, and all of this was probably very true. I didn't think of it, looking back, I didn't think of it as, three grown people trying to take down a young man. I didn't see it that way, and I do see that now. And I'm kind of ashamed that I ever felt that way. But I was never a big fan of Jeffree Star. I liked him. I had subscribed to him when Manny and him were hanging out, because I was a huge fan of Manny, and I've met Manny and he's amazing. And I stopped liking Jeffree because I knew that Jeffree and Patrick had some beef, and I really loved Patrick. I also met him. He was amazing. And so I stopped liking Jeffree Star because, in defense for Patrick Star. And then I just unsubscribed from him, and then I resubscribed after Shane's video. And then some allegations had come out, and then I unsubscribed again. And I think I'm missing a whole part even before all of that stuff, where him and John Cookian had gone into it, and at the time I was a fan of his, and also somebody I've talked to who was amazing to me personally. I won't talk about any of his controversies. I'm just speaking I no longer am subscribed to him anymore, but that was just my personal experience with him. So looking at everything, I can honestly say that I'm extremely disappointed in the actions of these two grown men. And I'm not going to add Tati in there, because I do not believe that what she was trying to do was to take him down because of some type of ego issue. I really don't believe that. And so I don't want to add her into that. I believe Jeffree Star is the problem. And I believe that to a degree, Shane is a problem. I'm trying to get past myself, because I know that there's a part of me that is so biased when it comes to Shane Dawson, because I have loved him, and he made me see Jeffree Star in a different light, and it made me consider even buying the merch, which I've never purchased Jeffree Star merchandise, and I never will, and I never wanted to. Even the times that I was subscribed to him, he was always just interesting, and his lifestyle was, just different, and he was rich, and it was fascinating to watch. But I have a hard time thinking that Shane is the problem, but he really is. He's a part of the problem. He's a part of the problem, the fact that he won't talk about the issues with Trish and the things that she's done. He won't distance himself from that. And then he won't distance himself from Jeffree. And he won't, and he did the series on Jake Paul and Tana. And those are all very problematic people. And by association, he is problematic. And although he really hasn't done anything that we know of yet, because there aren't like real receipts, you can tell that he's a part of the problem, and he is problematic himself. So I can't sit here and say that Jeffree Star has manipulated Shane Dawson. I believe to a certain degree he has. I believe that he pushed him a little bit, but at the end of the day, Shane Dawson is a grown man, and I have to realize that, and I have to look at this from an unbiased, take a step back, look at it from an unbiased perspective, and say, you know what, this man knows what he's doing, and he doesn't need his fans to, combat all of this drama for him. And he's just pulling a Jaclyn Hill. He gets himself into situations, and then you're pulling the mental health card, which isn't fair. You have to own up to the things that you do. And he hasn't. And I'm not sure if he ever will. But I believe that as time has gone on, we're seeing a pattern of bad behavior, and that this whole golden boy of YouTube act is now gone. And I believe in a way that Jeffree wanted this to happen. I believe because he was curious, Jeffree Star wanted to see what would happen if he took the golden boy of YouTube and brought him down to his level. What would happen? How would the YouTube world react if he took the golden boy and turned it into basically another version of himself? And we see now that his plan worked, and that people are starting to unsubscribe from Shane a lot for the first time in I don't even know how long, probably until his last controversy. But I believe this is the first time we're actually going to see people tear down his image. And I don't want to see it happen, but I believe that it should. I believe that they're just as narcissistic and egotistical and all the words that he described James of being. I believe that they're all of those things, Shane included, not just Jeffree. I believe that Shane likes the drama. Of course he does. He does series on drama. He picks the biggest people that are in drama to do a series on them. And it's unfair to just pull out when things get hard. You don't stop being a part of a beauty community. You don't just take your money so conveniently after a launch and leave. You should have made this statement 5 days ago, so people were able to make up their minds on whether or not they wanted to buy your stuff. Should have done it, but you didn't. And I think that, I don't believe that Jeffree Star is his real friend. I believe that it's so interesting that even I am talking more about Shane Dawson than Jeffree Star, who's clearly the bigger issue here. But talking about Jeffree Star is like beating a dead horse, because Jeffree Star can get away with anything. I think he's going to lose a few more 100,000 subscribers, but cancel culture isn't really a thing for him. And it should be. It should be when it comes to him. And there's other people that are still defending him. And I do plan on making another video about that, because I believe that even though other drama channels have come out against Jeffree Star, there are some, mainly just one, being Rich Lux, that won't talk out against Jeffree Star, and he won't keep the same energy. So he'll come on his channel and talk about Shane, but he won't keep and talk about the wrong things that Shane Dawson is doing, but not looking at his part of enabling Jeffree Star. That is mind-blowing to me. So I think there's a lot of problems, and I'm disappointed. And Shane needs to stop pulling this mental health card. Oh, I can't deal with this. Oh, poor me, whatever. It's not a poor me act. You wanted to be a part of the beauty community. This is the beauty community. Welcome to the circus. And I don't feel bad for him. I don't believe that anybody should feel bad for him. I think there are a lot of people that will, because they love him, and to a certain degree. I want to, because I want to believe he's a good guy. But I think it'll be interesting to see within the next year if they're still friends, if he still considers them family, and if Shane will pull the "I had no idea this was happening, I was being manipulated" card. I don't know. I don't know if, I believe that Jeffree probably does have something on Shane. And I believe that Shane left the beauty community early because there's something else going to come out. And he's going to leave Twitter, and he's going to leave all of social media for a while because of his mental health, when it's really probably about the fact that he told Gabby Hanna, allegedly, that Jeffree Star was still using derogatory language, and the fact that he stood by him still. Like, he didn't address that in his final statements. He didn't bring any of that up. He didn't want to talk about that. He talks about addressing everything, but he didn't mention that. And a lot of people are having to do the talking for Jeffree Star, and I bet he's loving it. And having somebody like Shane on your side probably doesn't hurt for him to be the fall guy for all of this drama. I didn't even know that we had gotten over the Davi Vanity situation with Jeffree Star. Him talking badly about, or to another brand owner, of wanting her to get hurt. Like, why are we still excusing this? Like, we've moved on from that. Why have we moved on from that? And Jeffree needs to address everything, and I don't believe he will because you guys keep making excuses for him. So, as a fan, I will say that Shane needs to own up to everything, and that he needs to distance himself from Jeffree if he wants to do well on this platform. I think him leaving for a few months and then coming back isn't going to change anything. I think he thinks it might if he just talks about, or if he does more videos on the demon that's in his house or whatever. I think he thinks it's going to go away with time. But once you become friends with Jeffree Star, I don't think it ever leaves you. Like, you have it. You caught it, you have it forever. And it'll never go away. And he thinks going away for a little bit is going to help. I know that, from what I know, Morgan has unfollowed Jeffree from Twitter or Instagram. I don't know what platform it was. And so it'll be interesting to see how this next year plays out. But none of them are the victim. And I believe someone like Rylan probably needs to step in, because I think that Rylan probably has his head on straight more than Shane does, and say, hey, like, support him on whatever decision he does as his fiance, but kind of talk some sense into him, because he's just going to call the mental health card and it's not going to solve anything. But bottom line is that this is what you got yourself into, and nobody feels bad for you but your die-hard fans, the people that will excuse Jeffree's behavior all day long and still buy his merch, despite everything that he's done and is still doing. I see that argument a lot, is, oh, you guys won't let him get away from his past. What past? A week ago, that's your past? And I just, that baffles me for whatever reason. But that is all I have. I am coming from a fan standpoint. I don't know if I'll ever make another video, but I wanted to say my piece with it, and maybe I will come out about drama channels, mainly Rich Lux, and their defense for Jeffree Star and the ridiculousness of it all. So, thank you for watching. My name is Talia Cunningham, and I'll see you where I won't.